Attention musicians of all levels. It's not always easy picking out a song by ear. Sometimes you need a little help. Well, I have the app for you. Whether you're a professional musician or a beginner, Ultimate Guitar is an amazing app. For just $2.99, you get the chords and tabs on guitar, bass, or ukulele for over 1 million songs. They're all available at your fingertips. You also get tools like a tuner, metronome, chord library, lessons, videos, and more. You can find out any song you want. It also has like transpose button. It has auto scroll that you can change the speed to so you can play along with the song. A lot of the songs have the lyrics there so you can sing along with them. Ultimate Guitar is an amazing app. Just go to ultimateguitar.com or download the app to your phone today and start playing. Start playing any song you want. Ultimate Guitar, that's the place for you. Let's get down. Hey gang, we all know Spotify has become the ultimate app destination for music lovers. I have an account and I love it. I find new music by following Tastemaker playlists, and I make my own playlist that I share featuring music from guests that have been on the show. But did you know that aside from millions of songs, Spotify now has all of your favorite podcasts, including How Did I Get Here? Yes, all of your podcasts are available on Spotify. Just go to Spotify.com or download the app from your app store, and don't forget to follow How Did I Get Here? That's Spotify. Millions of songs, thousands of podcasts. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys all had a good weekend this weekend. Maybe you celebrated Father's Day. Maybe you celebrated Juneteenth. Maybe you live in Austin. You went to the big opening of the soccer stadium with the Austin FC playing San Jose. I actually watched a little bit of that on the TV. And then I was kind of lamenting that I wasn't actually there. I was like, shit, that place is really cool. It's interesting, man. It's so weird to see so many people together at a place, right? I mean, that's what's going on right now. I mean, Jackie Venson had like 2 nights sold out at Antone's. That soccer thing was going on. I went to the movies. I went and rehearsed with dudes all day and did shit all day. Speaking of which, I've got a show coming this Friday, June 25th, playing at 310 ACL Live here in Austin. Fantastic lineup. It's my band with the Belle sounds. I'm very, very excited to get this going. I've got a new single dropping on Friday. Very excited about that. It's called All New Flavor. I wrote it with my friend Gabriel Rhodes. Really excited to have the band out there. So this Friday, June 25th, 310 Austin City Limits Live here in Austin, Texas, man. Get your tickets at 310austin.com. That's the number 3, the word 10austin.com. I'll put a link to it in underneath the text of this podcast to get the shows, man. Come on out. So yeah, I didn't do much Father's Day. My father and me have not spoken now since about March of 2020. So it was a political thing on his behalf. Like it's not like I'm not talking to him, but he's not talking to me because he's on the tip of he believes that Hillary Clinton is in prison for drinking baby's blood, and that's why you don't see her now. My uncle told me that. I think he's also of the belief that in August, Donald Trump will be reinstated as president. Just all that kind of wacky stuff. And if you're not, he likes to talk about it. Like usually if you have someone like that in your life, especially like a parent or something, like you kind of avoid that stuff. You don't go full on and go up like, hey, you know why Donald Trump sucks or whatever. You know why Joe Biden sucks or whatever it is. His thing is like, he used to always say, and your friend Hillary. I actually have like 12 minutes of him just talking. I should actually probably put that on the show at some point. I was testing out my Skype for an interview I was doing with someone a couple years ago, and that's what he was saying the whole time. And your friend Hillary, he's Cuban, so that's why he has that accent. But anyway, so he was massively offended. I can't even really remember exactly the incident, but then I know that talking to African American people on the show throughout the summer last year, specifically about race relations and things like that, sort of circulated as a rumor throughout my family. And he was walking around going like, "Oh, did you see Johnny? He thinks he's black." So he's that kind of guy. So my dad's that guy. He's that guy. He's like he's like the opposite of me in some ways, you know, in sort of like ideology. There's like an opposite sort of thing, you know. What are you going to do? Right? I don't know. Maybe I'll reach out to him. I sent him a text for Father's Day. I mean, I didn't want to call him because what am I going to say? He didn't answer my text, so I even wonder if it's even his number. I should ask my brothers and sisters, like, is that Dad's number? Or is he just like, fuck that kid? Who knows, man? Who knows? Parental relationships, man, as you go, they can get weird, you know? Family relationships, things that have gone on that you kind of like dealt with shit a certain way your whole life, and then all of a sudden, like, they go dark. You know, my dad's always had his views politically. I've always had mine. They've always been different. They've never gotten in the way of our existence, but the heat that has sort of been turned up over like the last like 6 years has kind of like driven him to this sort of like, you know, that intense, that intense thing that some people have gone through. Either way, like, you know, people have shot off to the left and become like super anti this, and then people have shot off to the right and become really anti everyone else. And there's obviously a giant division, but I don't think it should interfere with your relationship with your children. You can't respect them for who they are. Then, you know, what are you doing as a dad? That's my Father's Day sentiment for this year. Okay. Gang, I have a great show for you today. A great show. And hopefully I'm introducing a lot of you to a brand new band that you've not heard. Very fantastic band. New disco, Brooklyn, New York collective, Bad Business Club is on the show today. I have Alex Vans, Jackson Belle, and Sam Bear from the band. They are from, as I said, Brooklyn, New York, and they do play new disco. They play daytime disco. They wrote some of the songs in Puerto Rico, which daytime disco is like a smooth daytime dance sounds, kind of like pool party music, kind of like a mix between Giorgio Moroder and disco and yacht rock. That's what it is. There's big chords. I just talked about this on Friday with Alex Chad from Yate. Now, I love this music because you guys have been listening to the show for years. You know that having pool parties, going to pool parties, being invited to pool parties, fantastic pool parties that I have a great time at. I live for that in the summer. And I listen to music that like seasonally. And so there is a certain kind of music that I like to listen to in the summer. It's a little lighter. It's a little more fun. And that's what Bad Business Club does. We have a really great conversation. They have a Patreon. They also do a podcast called Imbibe the Vibe podcast, where they make drinks that match a style of music, and they go deep into the style of music, have some cocktails, talk for a couple of hours about yacht rock, about outlaw country, about all kinds of stuff. So check that out. That is called Imbibe the Vibe. You can find them at badbusinessclubmusic.com. And they just dropped a brand new single on just like a week and a half ago called Flip Me Over. And that's going to be on their upcoming album called Naked Neighbor, which drops on August 13th. So go to badbusinessclubmusic.com. Get involved with them there. They wrote some of these songs in Puerto Rico to sort of get that island vibe and that summer vibe. I really had a great time with them. I had a great time talking to them, and I do absolutely love their music. And this song, Flip Me Over, is fantastic. You'll hear it now when I stop talking. So, without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Alex Vans, Jackson Belle, and Sam Bear from Bad Business Club. Let's get down. You guys are in Brooklyn. That's the jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson and Sam are in Brooklyn. I've recently, I don't want to say fled, but I've left New York for Virginia for the time being.
Wow. What was what was that? Why? Was it freaky because of the pandemic, or when did you leave?
I left when my lease expired end of March. And it was 4.5 years in New York. I think some people are like, I love this, I'm going to stay for life. Others are like, I did my time. And I was I did my time person. I like being here because it's 3.5 hour train ride to see the guys and do stuff and play shows when shows come back. But Virginia is also home for me, so it's it's a little bit more like chill. And
where in Virginia?
Arlington. So
nice.
right across the river from DC. Yeah.
What's the Birchmere? Is that the place there?
Yeah, that's in Alexandria. I actually played there in like 2010 with this guy Justin Jones.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. That's a fun venue to play. It's a good dinner theater vibe.
Yeah. Hey, so let me ask you. I listened to the Imbibe the Vibe podcast, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I looked through them and was like, I want to hear the Yacht Rock episode. So I listened to some. I mean, it's a pretty long show. Are you guys pretty? I didn't listen to the whole thing. I will. I just was like, man, I should probably be listening to their music and not fucking Al Jarreau. and Georgie Porgy by Toto.
Yeah, man. Nothing wrong with any of that, though.
That's been our 2020 passion project when all our shows got canceled. We're like, let's do something kind of fun. And then,
drink.
Let's drink.
Basically our thought process.
Right.
And it tends to be a long show.
My former career as bartender with Alex's passion for drinking, and the show was born.
So how long were you a bartender?
A few years. I bartended in Boston while I was at school, and then a couple years in New York too.
So real quick, this is Jackson talking. This is weird because it's three people that my regular listeners might not know. So I'm talking to Jackson Belle. Say hi, Jackson, so they know your voice.
How's it going?
Okay, and Alex. Say hi.
Yeah, I'm Alex Vans.
Alex
How
Vans.
you doing?
And Sam
Coming at
Bear.
you live from Northern Virginia.
Let's hear your voice. Sam?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, listeners. I suppose it's morning there.
It's morning
You're
here
in
for
Central-
me, yes. I'm in Central America. United States of America, that is.
Yeah,
Sam,
I've heard of it.
is that one of those chord keyboards with the tube in it behind you? I love
It
that
sure
thing,
is.
man.
It's
Love it.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's my baby. Yeah. Thank you for seeing her.
Oh, yeah. Does she have a
Yeah.
name?
No.
Okay.
She should.
She totally should. She totally should. So,
Should.
real quick, back
Baby.
to Jackson. You were in school in Boston. Were you at Berkeley or something?
I was, yeah.
You were. Did you go all the way and graduate and everything?
I did graduate, which means I evidently wasn't good enough to get pulled onto some tour before I graduated.
Real quick, who gave you your diploma? Who was the guy? Was it like Quincy Jones or some
the
shit?
honorary doctorate?
Yeah.
Listen, man, my class, this, not to date myself, but the class of 2016, we got...
That's not dating yourself, my friend.
We got completely hosed.
Ancient.
We got completely hosed in the honorary doctorate department. We had the Isley brothers, and which they're cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
they're
they came
super
to see
cool.
us for freshman year too.
Yeah.
They came to see us for freshman year.
Ungrateful.
I know.
We had, just listen, because we had Milton Nascimento, who's great, but when asked if he wanted to address the graduates, he just went, no, which is really funny. We also had Rita Moreno, who...
That's weird.
Yeah. You know who we had 2 years beforehand?
Who's that?
Jimmy Page.
Now that is killer.
You know who we had a year before us? Willie Nelson.
Shit.
And
You know who we
Valerie
had the year
Simpson.
after us? Todd Rundgren.
Jesus.
We
Okay,
got
now
both,
I
man.
see. Now
We
I see
got-
why you're like. Now I see why you're bitching about the Isley Brothers.
And don't get me wrong, I love them. They're great, but it's not Jimmy Page.
I get it.
So close.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
close.
I have to tell you guys something. Oh, there are people. I've been doing this show for almost 10 years, but there was a thing that happened to me in 2012. I realized how much I missed, like, the event of summer, you know, and like the coming of summer, and the things that means. I'm 52 years old, so the older you get, the further away you move from summer. You know what I mean? From that just the vibe of it, right? And I started like looking for pool parties, and my trip just became like super summer music infused, and like I started listening to music seasonally. Like there's songs I just don't listen to in the winter, but as soon as like today, Memorial Day comes along, these jams are all I listen to. So it's serendipitous that I'm actually fucking talking to you guys today. So my cousin Eric and I, we both went through this thing together, and totally, we have a summer playlist on Spotify, which I'll send you guys on, because you're going to be on it. But we've been doing it for the last few years, and we've been doing like the greatest summer songs of all time, right? But your music is like specifically daytime disco summer pool music. Like it's exactly what I want right now, which is amazing.
I think this is the first band that personally I have been in that when somebody asks me, hey, what kind of band are you guys? I'm usually like, well, we're some kind of like mix between, but this has just been the easiest. Like, yeah, daytime poolside disco. Yep.
Yeah.
And it was just 3 words. I can do it. I think it's actually very refreshing that, you know, we finally got that going on.
Yeah. The other thing too is the term daytime disco really works with my age, because I'm not going to do cocaine and Molly anymore. You know what I mean? But like having some cocktails by a pool, like something fancy with rum, like you were making on that Yacht Rock episode during the day, sounds fantastic for me. So, how did this? Okay, so sorry. I'm very excited, so I'm trying to put it all together, because new disco is initially what it is that you're playing, but this record specifically is daytime disco.
Yeah, definitely. And not to, I think, go too far back with the band, but I met Jackson, was it 2017, 2018, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
And it was one of the weird, so I moved to New York late 2016 with the intention of like starting a yacht rock band, like a straight up, you know, Steely Dan, Kenny Loggins style yacht rock band. And we put out an EP that's very much like straight in that vein. And this is unlike me because I'm a little bit of a Luddite, but I actually met Jackson on Instagram. And he showed up at one of our shows. Yeah. He showed up at shows. We bonded over yacht rock and everything. And he brought Sam into the fold because they both went to Berkeley, actually. And
I failed to mention.
Don't remind me.
But it sort of morphed into the disco vibe because we partnered up with this dude, Morgan Wiley, who owns a studio up the road from us in Greenpoint in Brooklyn, that I'd been going to for a while, but he was basically like, hey, your yacht rock tunes are really ripe for remixing. You mind if I take a couple shots at a few of the tunes? And the stuff that he came up with, was, I think, just this perfect evolution to kind of like what I thought I wanted to do to what we really wanted to do. And it's been a really good partnership, I think, with the three of us, and then our rhythm section and Morgan really getting, I think, a vibe that, like, I think musically us all coming from an area where we really appreciate jazz, and because of that really appreciate yacht rock and the Steely Dans of the world. And then I think translating that into more of a, like, the relaxed groove side of disco with kind of more of the soft, jazzier, harmonies and everything that's also sort of idiomatic to that style as well. So, it's been a really, really nice evolution and actually a very natural one. And a lot, in 2020 when we decided to bear down and just record this, because, we had a full, show schedule lined up, and I'm in a weird way glad all those were canceled, because we wouldn't have been able to make this. And it was the most fun I think we've all had in the studio, for me, ever, in recording all the records I've made. It was just, everything just fell together really, really, really well.
It sounds like it. Sam, when did you fall in with these two characters?
Straight up the beginning of the pandemic last year, Jackson reached out to me. Well, like Alex said, Jackson and I met at Berkeley back in 2012. So we go back a while. But last year, it was really when, lockdown started and people didn't, especially, musicians were like, what do we do with ourselves? And we started doing these kind of at home remote covers of various yacht rock songs. We did Minute by Minute by the Doobie Brothers, and we did Bi-Coastal by Peter Allen. And it kind of started with, these weird eclectic, mostly yacht rock covers. And then, we started going to Morgan Wiley's all together. I started joining those sessions, and it kind of just snowballed from there. But this project was was like the only reason I was, staying active and recording. And it was a really fun recording process. It was actually like the first time for me that I didn't have like super bad red light, fear, because I've always been weird with recording. And it's just like, it was such a comfortable space and so good to be doing something that it was wonderful.
Yeah. I was recording during the pandemic, and those were the best days of my whole life.
Yeah. It had a new purpose. It had a new, weight to it that was like, oh, this is what I have right now. And that's it,
But we were doing one guy at a time, and when the drummer came in to do his thing, I left the control room and went and just laid in front of the drums, because I just missed the feeling of your ears beaten up after listening to someone play drums in the same room as you. Sam, did you go all 4 years to Berkeley?
No, I went 2 years, and then I dropped out because I started doing a dueling pianos gig in Boston, which ultimately led me to New York. But I started gigging and was learning more on the gig than at school. So
on those dueling piano gig things, you have to know like every fucking song in the world, right?
Yeah, I've definitely from the time that I started in 2014 to now. It's, you're constantly like realizing there's more songs that too. So at one point I had a list going that was a little north of 1,000 songs, and
Jesus Christ.
I stopped, writing them down after a certain point.
Wow.
Once you hit 1,000, I think the point's made,
Yeah.
Well, you at least get to the threshold where if somebody asks for a hyper specific 80s Joel tune, you can at least go, well, I don't know that one, but here you go.
This one. And that's still, even with north of 1,000 songs, that still happens, there will be something. Is there a point where somebody comes up and goes like, do you know Pressure by Billy Joel? Yeah, people try to stump me, and they'll give me like just like the hardest, like Billy the Kid or Angry Young Man, and it'll be like like I haven't actually like taken the time to work out all of these incredibly like complex piano songs, so I'll fake it till you make it though. You give them as much as you can.
Yeah, man.
And it's fun, you learn a lot on that gig, more than just songs. There's a lot of banter, and people come and celebrate their bachelorettes and birthday parties, so you learn how to embarrass people, and that's always a good tool to have in your back pocket.
Yeah. So are you still doing it, or are you doing it now again ever since COVID came back, or?
So it was weird. I was kind of an anomaly during the pandemic because the bars that I work at in Midtown, primarily Bar 9 on 9th Avenue and Haswell Greens on 52nd, stayed open for delivery food and stuff. But they also, once outdoor dining started in the middle of the summer, they opened up their front windows and stuff and let us start playing again. So I was working throughout, not dueling, but solo, just doing all request solo shows on the sidewalk, which was wonderful. And I had, it was a little bit weird, going out in the middle of the pandemic to play because nobody else was doing it. And I had this weird guilt about it, simultaneously, while I was appreciating it, it was this is weird. And I'm encouraging people to come out in the middle of a pandemic. Anyway, there's no way to know how to navigate these situations, but, I'm still, now that the bars are coming back and stuff, I'm doing it more and more, exponentially as it starts to pick up again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's coming back. It's good.
Yeah.
It's.
I just played a gig this weekend at a place that was it was so exciting to walk on stage, take the walk from the back of the green room to the stage. And, just that part was it was awesome.
I think I saw that on your Instagram. Where were you guys playing?
At this place called Rockefeller's in Houston, which is super awesome because it's a place I've been going to with my mom since the 70s. And I saw fucking Dr. John there and the Neville brothers and all kinds of cool people there. Yeah. Yeah. Really cool. So, all right. Flip Me Over is not out right now, but it will be out, I think, by the time this podcast comes out. It's a great song. And now you guys wrote that song. You guys went to Puerto Rico before the lockdown.
Yeah. So I think what I love about this band is that we're all just really natural to playing with our strengths, and I think that's what Sam was doing. Was saying kind of earlier, where that's why the recording process just went so easy. And right before the pandemic, I told everyone, hey, I got with Morgan, I got with Jackson. And this was a little bit before we brought Sam in, actually, only a month or two before. But we had sort of been talking about having you join our yacht rock gigs at the time before we did that big, transition.
Yeah.
But Jackson and I were talking, we want to do this disco thing. I don't really fully know how to get in this right away because I have a tendency to just write rock tunes. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to some rural hilltop place in Puerto Rico, and I'm just going to lock myself up in there and, stare over a mountain and just, write just the very sort of bare bones of what the songs were. So Flip Me Over originally was just a melody, lyrics, and then just block chords. And what we did is we took just that demo of and gave it to Jackson and Morgan to arrange, because I basically told Jackson and Morgan, I'm going to stay out of your way here. I'm not going to try to turn this into any kind of a song that's kind of in my head, you know?
Right.
And they were able to do the level of, vibe type of magic that, I really wanted to stay out of the way from. And kind of what came back from those sessions was a real clarity into, how we could sort of, build around that in the studio.
Yeah.
And then, June hit, and it was summer in New York, and we all came in and, when we got into the studio, there was a lot more collaboration. Sam and I would get together and say hey, here's these lyrics. Where do you think, I'm not crazy about this part, what do you think can happen here? And we hit the harmonies together and fleshed it out vocally. So I think it was a lot of fun, I think, stages where, I had a really nice time, being able to do the writing that I think I'm proud of, but also staying out of the way when I knew that somebody could do the thing better than I could.
Right.
And that was the funnest part. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's an amazing. It takes experience in music. I think to me, it takes a little time and you know what I mean. It takes experience to be able to know your strengths and when to step back and bring somebody else in. That's good. That's like that's a talent unto itself. You know what I mean?
It takes a long time because you just
So how did you guys do? What a Fool Believes cover is pretty unbelievable on the level of that. There's a lot of shit you didn't that's hard, like the beep beep boom 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 beep beep boom 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 boom. Like to do that song without it is kind of weird, but you really did make it your own. I mean, it's fucking great, by the way, and it's still a great song.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, right. It's Sam's favorite song of all time, I believe.
Straight up,
Is it
love
really?
It's
Can I show you guys
there's
something real cool
about that song?
Can I show you guys something real cool? Hang on.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
So
What?
this photo is from years ago at Austin City Limits Music Festival when I actually got to play with the
Skunk.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pinning it so I can see.
I was in this band called Endoshina. There's video of it out there, but he was a huge fan of this band, and I was like the auxiliary guy, but none of those guys knew who he was. Like, he just really liked the band, and their manager
How
would
can
be
you
like,
not?
"It's
The mustache gives everything away.
these guys were real weird as people."
You know. So the funny story about Skunk is I also met him a couple times because I lived in DC for a number of years before I moved to New York. And so Skunk would play all of these tribute shows that I was like, this one guy in Silver Spring would put together all these tribute shows at like the Birchmere and the Hamilton and places like that. And Skunk would always show up to play guitar. And I kept telling my dad, cause he would come out because he loved like a lot of this, a lot of like the 70s music.
Yeah.
How is Skunk always here? And he's like, well, he works at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
I was like, what? He's like, yeah, no, he's like a, serious missile defense consultant for the Pentagon now. And that's why he's like shows up at all these DC shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first met him, it was in 2003, and he was here from, I want to say Afghanistan at the time, because at that point he was living like in a bunker underground doing counterterrorism shit. Yeah, it's pretty fucking weird.
Hilarious.
Crazy.
I think it's like the musician tendency to just like, maybe it's just not really being a musician, but having the mind of a creative where you're always trying to solve problems. And I think he said this in an interview where, this was kind of another thing. I just got really fascinated in, how missiles worked and aviation and defense and missile defense. And then it was like solving a problem, like how putting a guitar solo together when I was playing with Steely Dan was like a problem I had to solve. And like, that was like the essence of it. Yeah. But yeah, that's fascinating, dude.
Yeah, totally. So, all right, let's get into a little bit of this yacht rock talk. Cause okay, I got to like, I think you guys played Georgie Porgy like 2 or 3 times while you were making
I think we played Georgie Porgy over and over again until we like stopped talking about it.
Until we stopped talking about it, yeah.
So
Takes longer to make a cocktail.
But do you guys agree that, okay, so the Doobie Brothers, so one of you guys was saying that the quintessential sort of like yacht rock thing was What a Fool Believes. But I think that's because of that video on YouTube a long time ago. To me, there's other bands like Pablo Cruz and Ambrosia and shit that to me just started out. They didn't have any other career. Like Kenny Loggins, he was super like yacht rock, but then he went to the Danger Zone and everything changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there were bands out there like Ambrosia and like Pablo Cruz that to me, I mean, even Pablo Cruz's logo, like the sunset with the palm tree and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Steely Dan like wasn't yacht rock until I would even say 1980. There's probably an argument where they were yacht rock at Asia, but
no, dude,
probably
it's
not
like
so
anything.
Gaucho.
It's when Michael McDonald joined the band.
Which is Gaucho. Yeah.
No.
He's on
his
Asia.
His first appearance is on Katie Lie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Any World That I'm Welcome
Any
to.
World That I'm Welcome to.
And Bad Sneakers, too.
Yep. But that's Pretzel Logic, isn't it?
Nope. Nope. Katie Lie.
Okay. Getting me wrong here.
I
Gotcha.
love these arguments.
Yeah.
I had these parameters in my youth to keep things simple and clear, and so there were people like and to have vibe and to get the dirt on every performance on a recording. And so I was like philosophically against Steely Dan for a lot of my life until I joined this cover band, which I've been in for years and years. But we occasionally we do a Steely Dan. We'll bring in and then I now I like them and I listen to them all the time.
It was put to me really well by this guy I used to work with at Donna, actually, where we took album photos one time, and it's closed now, unfortunately, due to the pandemic. But
that's where you learned like all the mixology that you demonstrated.
It's one of the spots. They were really like a rum bar. So all the rum stuff I definitely learned from there, and larger format batch cocktails. They did a bunch of. They had a frozen pina colada with Branca Menta in it. I had that Menta. Yeah. It's so good. But anyway, Leaf from Donna put it to me because he was in a punk band and he was like a bass player in punk bands and stuff. Right. So he remembers being a kid and hearing Steely Dan and being like, I don't like this. I don't get this. This sounds like music for adults.
Yeah.
You know,
this is dad music.
That's a really good way of thinking about it, because it's, you know, you have these two guys, weirdos, who are writing all this music about like Las Vegas and all this like kind of lurid underworld stuff, and then you get them to arrange the tunes for like the baddest players in the industry.
Right.
So like people hear it and it's like, wow, it's like a rock song, but it's elevator music also somehow.
Right.
And but then eventually you realize like, no, wait a second, this is actually kind of an achievement.
Well, that was the thing. Was then once, like, I don't know, 7 years ago or 8 years ago or something, we had to learn these songs, and I was like, oh, I kind of like these guys. And then I found the classic albums of Asia on like YouTube or something. And then that's when I was like, I never really like listened to their lyrics. I just thought it was like this smooth jazz vibe. And then you go listen to it and it is like junkies and fucking weirdos and yeah, it's awesome.
The dark sarcasm.
Yeah.
Wall to wall, but with beautiful orchestration.
Yeah, it's dark rock.
Yeah.
I have a comedian friend named Avery Moore who's probably around your age, someone that was born well after the release of Minute by Minute, but literally has Minute by Minute tattooed on her forearm.
Love it.
Do you love that whole album?
I do. Yeah. I mean, from start to finish, it's perfect. As someone that also has dated musical references tattooed on my person. I have a gigantic David Bowie lightning bolt on my thigh.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, no, it's a perfect album.
Yeah.
I love Open Your Eyes. That's a great tune on there.
We did that on the podcast.
We did.
Oh, you did play it on there?
On the Yacht Rock episode, we do that one. And there's always
that was
one
the one
drink.
with the egg yolk in it that
there's
Sam
always
loved
one
and I
drink
hated
per episode.
God, I loved
There's
it in that
one
moment.
drink per episode that we're always iffy about.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what makes the show fun, is that we're sort of reacting to these drinks as we're trying them.
Right.
And for that one, there was a tune. Well, the tune was Open Your Eyes, and the drink is called the Eye Opener, which is kind of like a hangover cure thing. It's like rum and an egg yolk. So it was odd, but it was, it's part
disgusting, and I loved it.
Yeah, you liked it, Sam. We were both.
I think about it now and I want to throw up a little bit, but in that moment, I was just drunk enough where I was like, oh, yeah, this is like breakfast and
I think we were also like in a really, really good mood because I was still in New York, and, you know, we were kind of apprehensive because it was about to get really cold again, and we didn't know what was going to be going on. You know, like, are we going to be holed up again and everything, and then it's going to be cold? And it was right before Thanksgiving, and there was this weird day that was 78 degrees, and so we set up the podcast like outside in a backyard and put like tiki stuff everywhere, and it was and so I think we were all just that might be like our most successful episode because we were just so excited to be like, hey, we're kind of recording this in the summertime, this is great, and we're drinking rum drinks, and yeah, I think it comes off that way, which we were all pretty happy about.
So I do agree with you guys that a serious component of the yacht rock sound is the expensive chords that come from jazz and jazz people and like the Toto guys. Did you guys by chance read Steve Lukather's book, The Gospel According to Luke?
I gotta read that. I've heard of it, of course, but I gotta read that.
I actually listened to it.
It's right up your alley.
I listened to it and he reads it, so it's even more exciting. It's like he's telling you these stories. Yeah.
When you got an audiobook done by the author like that, those are the best. You gotta do the audiobook.
You know what I would have loved is if have any of y'all read Miles Davis's autobiography?
No.
He was still alive during when audiobooks were popular, him actually dictating what he had already dictated to a writer would have been amazing to hear. I won't do a Miles Davis impression, but needless to say, if you go on YouTube and just watch him talk, you can imagine an entire 500-page book being narrated in his own voice. Would have been incredible.
I remember him getting like a Lifetime Achievement Award or something at the Grammys in like the late 80s or early 90s, and when he accepted, like everyone's on their feet and they're, you know, giving him a standing ovation, and he just walked up and went, "Thanks," and he stepped back. And they just are roaring even harder. And he goes, "Thanks a lot." And that was it. Yeah. So I imagine his autobiography is like 18 words.
Well, in his autobiography does talk about how the reason he had that basically like quintessential rasp is he had to get some throat surgery for some polyps he had. And the doctor told him, hey, like, you know, make sure you just whisper for, you know, a month because you're going to really ruin your voice if you raise your voice. And some club owner in Harlem tried to stiff him on the cash he was supposed to pay at the end of the gig. And he started screaming at the guy. And he basically said, yeah, that was the moment my voice was shot ever since. And he was in his mid 20s when he did this. And that's kind of why he has that kind of rasp like that, you know?
So insane. So you guys have a yacht rock band?
Well, it's really transitioned into the disco thing. And I think what we kind of did start as a yacht rock band, like playing around the New York area. And what was a really natural evolution about that was, you know, we all kind of got tight as a band, and Jackson and I sort of developed our guitar dynamic, like where that sort of fits. Jim and Max, who aren't here, were able to sort of tighten up as a rhythm section. And it was funny because like right before the pandemic too, we were like, oh, Sam's going to be like this co-singer with me, and it'll be like really great. So, cause I don't have to stretch to sing like, you know, Toto type of lines either.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, and it morphed into new disco, into daytime disco. I think when we go back to playing shows, and you know, this is a bomb I'm going to drop on everyone because I haven't actually talked about this to all y'all yet because I've been focused on the actual record release. But
Jackson's face.
I would love to sort of pad our set with like, you know, stuff that yacht rock tunes that in a way with what we did with The Fool Believes, like take some of those, you know, do all our originals, but take like 3 or 4 of those tunes and, you know, modernize them a little bit, disco them up. I think that'd be to me, that's a great bridge that, where we can hold on to our roots, if you will.
That would be great. But the argument I'd have with you there is that if you give people like the Twinkie and then you try and serve them something that they don't know, it might be like it might make for a weird dynamic. Like maybe separate them, and I don't know. It's your thing. that just gave me a little bit of
That's
like
a good
fear.
Point.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm in a cover band, and I also have my own band, and I've been releasing singles, and I'm releasing a single every month like you guys are putting out, and I'm doing like a show at a place where my cover band is also doing a show. And like I announced my show like a month before my cover band. It hasn't sold out yet, but the cover band's already added an extra date because the first day sold out in 2 days.
Hey.
So there are those things where I get very like nervous about mixing them because I'm like, look, I don't want anybody to go like, no, come on, do play another Toto song.
So I'd like everyone's opinion on this because there's a slippery slope into becoming a yacht rock, just a straight ahead yacht rock cover band that
I like that this has turned into a band meeting on my podcast. Go ahead. Sorry. No, it's good.
Sorry. No, Johnny, I'd really like your opinion too, because as someone advocating for a cover band, because when we were playing yacht rock cover gigs, what I was noticing is like the bands that were really successful, you really have to go ham on the, and I don't think we're ever like, I don't want to be someone that does the whole like sailor suits and like we're gonna set sail and all that stuff. I just kind of want to play the music.
I want sailor suits. Wait, does that mean we're not getting sailor suits?
Like, I don't want to dress like we're like a crew on a cruise ship, like I'm like, I don't want to dress like a cruise director, and that you guys are like the cruise staff, that's what I'm afraid of with that slippery slope. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, even with like your standard gig, when you're an artist, starting out, which let's face it, we're a small band in Brooklyn. We're kind of like we're starting out. And, if you start doing all these delicious covers, like as you phrased it beautifully, a Twinkie, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before people are doing the fucking Freebird thing at you, and and it's all ruined. So
tell people, it's like if somebody ever jokes around about screaming Freebird at a show of mine, it's like we'll play it.
Yeah,
like I know that.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Do it.
You want 14 minutes of that shit? Okay, sit down.
Oh yeah, you want me to take a guitar solo for 14 minutes? Because I'll do it.
So are you guys, do you have shows booked for the summer? Like, do you have a release show booked and stuff?
Yeah, we've sort of talked about that here and there. And I think what we're trying to do with this set of releases is, kind of reset what our brand is, get a lot of these, 3 of these singles out, get the full record out. Sure. And, I've been fielding some stuff from some venues like the Bowery Electric in New York and from some areas down in the DC area and Miami, where they're sort of asking us, hey, come October, like when you come out of this sort of, release type sort of lifeline, like we're kind of loosely playing with those dates to play. And I think what we want to do first is maintain a real singular focus on putting as much horsepower, out on these singles digitally. And obviously, we've got Sean from Shark Party on, behind us. Right. There's there's a woman in the UK, Sharon Andrews, that, all she does is serve underground DJs in Europe and kind of get people spinning it on vinyl and get people sort of playing it in their DJ sets at, daytime disco shows and, continuing with the podcast. And we have a vinyl that's going to be coming out at the end of summer that'll be out
fantastic.
in stores. And I think what the goal is to, you know, really go single focus, full bore on this, you know, building our presence digitally, and then from the record, and, you know, sort of hit the show schedule when it feels like, you know, we're coming out of this with like a lot of buzz, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Are you guys like Jackson? Do you have another thing that you do? Like, do you outside?
Yeah. I have another band. We just had a gig a couple days ago, which, like you were saying, all the fun things that seemed mundane before the global health crisis about playing a gig. You know, the walkout from the green room, the taste of a microphone in your mouth. Yeah. It was nice to be playing in front of people again. We do like outlaw country tunes, but kind of with like a jam band kind of take on it.
All the other stuff, like lugging your amp up the steps from the L train to, you know, the venue.
Yeah, good time. It's why I started playing small amps.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there you go.
As I've gotten older, my amps have gotten smaller.
Yeah. They sound better too.
They do. You can just dial them right in, get a very pristine tone.
My amp has two knobs, like volume and tone. It's
all you need.
15 watts. It's like, you know, yay big.
But how big is your pedal board is the question.
It's gotten smaller. It's gotten smaller.
Mine has two.
I'm down.
It's gotten smaller?
Because when you first came to the studio when we did What a Fool Believes back last May, it was, you know, and you can't see my arm span, but
it's so big.
It's about
he says that he likes to exaggerate. I've always kind of prided myself on having a relatively portable rig. You know, I'm not one of these guys going out there where the guitar case and the pedal board bag are the same size. Like, you know, because we've all seen those dudes, you know, go out there and the pedal board's like a...
Yeah.
See, at least this is... Because I got a lot of thoughts on it, you know. I think if there's a pedal that doesn't get used on more than one song, I'm not the guy who brings something out just for one part in one song, is I guess what I'm saying. I like versatility. I like pedals that are simple and sound good and are versatile, you know, not to rant. I'm ranting now.
I'm at this place with the Mel 9, the Mellotron guitar pedal, where I'm like, either I'm going to use it on every song, or I took it off the pedal board. So
do you know? Are you familiar with that? Oh man, I had it a long time ago, but it was sort of like that crazy octave pedal that made things sound like an organ, and I thought I was going to use it every single gig, and then I realized it was the only time I'd use it was if I used to play with this like sort of alternative country band, and I only used it on the gigs where our Leslie player couldn't make it. Because I had to like somewhat substitute for that.
In your outlaw country band, you're doing a lot of music from where I'm from in Austin, right?
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, we do all the Waylon, all the Willie.
You guys get into Billy Joe Shaver, anything like that?
Oh, of course, man. Yeah. Of course. I mean, he wrote all of Waylon's best songs.
Right.
So, yeah, of course we're doing those. We got to do that.
That was probably our most passionate episode of the podcast, too, where we really...
I did see that you had one, yeah.
Certainly one of the drunker episodes.
That's good.
Well, it was
traditional.
It was bourbon.
Yeah.
Usually the drunker we get, the longer the podcast is. And I remember it took me a full 2 weeks to edit that one down because I had to bring it down from 6 hours, and the farthest I could get it down was
6 hours.
We had 6 hours of footage in that.
Jesus, that's awesome.
And I cut out the last 2 hours because you were you went on this hour and 15-minute jag on Blaze Foley, which, I think was.
You're against Blaze Foley?
No, I'm not against Blaze
Okay.
Foley. It's just that really none of it made any sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was just talking about probably how he, how much he loved duct tape and how he slept under the pool table. And all that. How he was best friends with Townes Van Zandt and whatnot.
Yeah. Did you see that movie? The Blaze movie?
No, there's a Blaze Foley movie?
Yeah, man. Ethan Hawke directed it.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it. I know there's a Guy Clark movie that's
There's a
coming
doc.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so you ever come down here? Have you ever been down here, Jackson?
My drummer's from Austin.
Oh, really?
Our drummer.
What's his name?
Max is from Austin. So, we're gonna try and make something like that happen in the future, and maybe a Bad Business Club show or two as well.
Do you guys play
expand our?
Do you guys play Hill Country Barbecue up there?
Ooh,
I played Hill Country once a long time ago.
That's a good place, man.
We did. There's a Hill Country DC as well.
Yeah.
That when I was living in DC, I did, and they have a really great stage. And I think the guy that used to book it, and I'm trying to remember his name. His name is Dave, but he had come up from Austin to do it, and he was able to sort of book all like the Hayes Carl and all those guys.
Yeah,
because he had those connections, which is great.
Those the people that own it are from here, and
the food, just it makes sense because that was the best barbecue I could get in DC and in New York, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty pricey, but it's good. Sam, sorry, man. Are you into? Do people ask you to play any outlaw country music at the? No.
I mean, I've got a little Johnny Cash under my belt, but apart from that, I'm not. I barely scratch the surface. But people don't really ask for it a lot either. No.
So, what do you? Elton John, Billy Joel.
A lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
musical theater.
Does anyone ever go like
those guys?
Tori Amos? Anyone ask him for that?
Yeah, I had some Tori Amos requests. I played Winter at a gig. It was really, we get some weird stuff. I actually don't know as much like Tori Amos, Fiona Apple, Regina Spektor, those ladies. I need to that's like a place that I need to spend some time in.
Natasha Bedingfield, is she in there?
I've got My Pocket Little Sunshine. I've got Unwritten. I've got what are her other big ones? But yeah, got Natasha, a little bit of Natasha.
Probably a lot of Alicia Keys.
A lot of Alicia Keys, yeah. I rap.
Bananarama.
Do you get?
I don't
just
know
said-
Bananarama.
Maybe Boingo Boingo.
Oh, what's their big one?
Dead Man's Party.
Yep.
It's a dead man's party. That's a fun one.
Leave your body at the door.
Just in case. I have my dad's music taste fully. My dad raised me on all his, there's
that?
random. Just, he was a big Frank Zappa guy, and Captain Beefheart, and just a lot of weird stuff from the 60s and 70s that I probably wouldn't know otherwise, like stuff by The Sweet.
Oh,
Like,
I love The Sweet.
He likes to tune into when we were doing the live streams, he would tune in and request Little Willie by Sweet.
It's such a great song, man.
It always just kills the room every time I do it. I love that song so much, and I get so into it when you do the key change at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love it so much, and everybody in the room is just like, what the fuck is going on? What is this music?
I'm sure that Bobby Brown Goes Down is a top request at Bar 9.
Oh God! Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if I was God,
I don't think you get
end
away
of the
with
night. If it was the end of the night, and somebody just happened to throw me $20 for Bobby Brown, I would do it.
Yeah.
You guys not
I
like
gotta be really late in the night.
Oh, God, I am an American dream. I mean,
the Frank Zappa song "Bobby Brown Goes Down."
Okay. I thought you meant Bobby Brown.
Which is something that
artist.
just you could never do.
Yeah, no, not Bobby Brown. You're talking about Bobby Brown Goes Down. Very
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not the world that Frank Zappa's music to me sometimes seems challenging just for the sake of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he was
I
a
could agree with
pretentious motherfucker. I mean, he knew he was like, and apparently he was the type of guy that it was like everything was written down like precisely, and you just had to learn it note for note. Like there was no wiggle room for, there was no creative liberties, with the
My
band.
father,
He was a hard ass. And
my father has a story of seeing Frank Zappa in the 1970s when he was living in Milwaukee, and like I guess he went to see him at one of those seated theaters, and they started playing, and it was all college kids in the theater, and like any theater show with college kids, they eventually started getting up and all going to the front, and he immediately stopped the show and said, "Excuse me, everybody, people here have paid for their seats. I'm kindly ask you to move back to your seats, and I will resume the show. If you remain here, we will not play."
My God.
I mean, the guy had been writing chamber music since he was 14.
Brilliant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But he only got into rock and roll in his 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
he
he's
didn't
got
pick up
that,
a guitar
he's got
until
that
he was like
chamber
19.
music, classical sensibility about him. you know?
But also, he said that he had seen, like, I watched that documentary. He had seen some guy that was like the weirdest music he'd ever heard. It was totally dissonant, some crazy composer guy. And that's what he basically based his trip on after that.
Like Bartok or somebody.
Yeah. I think that's the name of the guy.
Bartok.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, the Black Page, like the whole point of him writing that was just to, write the hardest possible thing that he
Well, and you know the story of Vinnie Colaiuta playing that song in the studio, right?
No.
Have you ever heard that story? Okay, it's apocryphal, it might not be fully accurate, but apparently, because the Black Page is written to be the hardest piece of drum music ever. Just like impossible to read, impossible to play. Yeah. And Vinnie Colaiuta's there in the studio. He's got the music in front of him. And also on his music stand, he has like a little thing of takeout sushi, right? And he's playing, he's doing it, he's reading, he's playing this one bit, and he picks up a California roll or something and pops it in his mouth as he's playing. And Frank is just like, this fucking guy, he's got to make it look so easy.
So Vinny's so good.
I want to believe that's real.
Vinny's so good.
He was so good that he could eat sushi while he's playing
the most challenging
Black Page.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's got to be like a little bit of an ego punch to Zappa, where he was intentionally writing the hardest piece of drum music, and someone could play it in such a blasé way.
Yeah, maybe he was just hungry, And it's Vinny, so it sounded great.
Yeah. Are you guys able? Are you guys able to still write like with Alex in Virginia? Do you guys pass music around?
Yeah, so we're actually what's nice about kind of being down here too is that it's not that far away. So we're actually meeting up at one of our friends' studios. We're doing a sort of a double day of a podcast, and then the next day we're going to be writing and recording a set of acoustic versions of everything that's going to be on this record. So Flip Me Over is going to have an acoustic version. I think Sam's going to really lean into her dueling pianos, acoustic piano chops, and we'll kind of do, I think what kind of made the recording of this record really fun and almost like magical to me, at least, is just coming in and trusting everyone's talents and not thinking too hard about it, and just being like, all right, let's arrange this and knock it out. And so I think we'll usually, once a month, just set something up where, we can all look forward to and know that it's going to come out in a way that we enjoy it and have fun in the process. Yeah.
Well, you guys are fucking great. And I love what I heard. I didn't get to hear all of Naked Neighbor, but I can't wait to. And, I'm definitely going to be adding Flip Me Over onto our Spotify summer songs playlist. what else? Is there anything else that I'm missing before we go? It's been really nice meeting you guys. You guys are really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
man,
you.
it's great to be here. Thank you.
This is a blast.
I think maybe one thing, two things. The first is definitely send me your address because because of COVID, vinyl pressing is gotten
Super
really
far
delayed.
behind. Yeah.
So end of August we will have a vinyl,
Awesome.
and I'll send one to you.
Thank
I'll
you.
send a couple to you so you can send it to friends and everything. But would love to
made a note.
give you one in exchange for your time. And new podcast is coming out tomorrow. We're going to be doing jazz fusion and gin infusions.
Oh, nice.
And so that'll be fun. And then we got one coming out every month. Not to get too plug frenzy, but follow us on Spotify, Bad Business Club, and we've got a Patreon.
Yeah, you have a Patreon.
Yeah, and it's a combination of the music and the podcast. So there's a lot of bonus podcast content where we do like a lot of special episodes. We'll send everyone that signs up a coaster that says "Imbibe the Vibe," and a lot of advanced like takes on our access to our music
right here
and everything. Oh,
Is that a
there we go.
sticker?
Yeah.
It's a coaster.
Oh, it's a coaster.
Is that a mouse
Nice.
pad?
Yeah.
Is that a mouse pad?
You can tell it's been used. It's got a little
Yeah.
convexness to it.
Nice. Coasters is a great, what a great idea for a podcast too. There's a bazillion people that started a podcast. That's what I do, just talking to other musicians about their thing. But I like this focused, and it's like it's just cool to hear. There's a thing about like a morning show where like you get used to like hearing a group of people talking. And I think when I go walking later, I'll definitely listen to the rest of it. But you have pretty long fucking episodes, huh?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a symptom of the subject matter where the first 4 songs tend to move at a pretty good clip. So we, talk about them, talk about the recipe. And then once you get to like song number 6, we're
At that
Off to
point,
the
we're just
races.
getting.
The rate of the blabber is directly correlated with the amount of alcohol we've drank, so it just gets exponentially slower and slower. But it's worth it. It's worth it to get to that point where we're just coherent.
Yeah.
That's when it gets spicy.
Yeah, it does.
Well, it's been really great meeting you, Sam, Alex, and Jackson. You guys are awesome, and we should stay in touch. Can I ask you a question? Do you guys know my friend Joseph King?
I don't.
He works at Nurse
We don't.
Betty's, and he also like plays in a band called Deadbeat Darling there, or Joseph King. Okay.
Deadbeat Darling sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like a rock and roll band. But anyway,
Nice.
Love those.
We'll have to look it up.
Big fan.
yeah. Well, I hope that you guys have great success and get to play a lot of pool parties after this record comes out, because it's fucking great.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
maybe
John.
come back in the fall when we start playing again. We'll have to, hit Miami and Austin where pool parties are still a thing for a little bit longer.
That's right.
And we'll link up.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. We'll stay in touch. I'll definitely send you my address. I'd love to hear this on vinyl. I have a record player. So, man, thank you guys so much for doing the show.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
a lot,
Johnny.
guys.
All right,
Pleasure
man.
to be on.
Take care.
All right.
I'll send Sean all the info when it's coming out. It'll be in the next couple
Excellent.
weeks. All right. See you guys.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right. That's Alex Vans, Jackson Belle, and Sam Bear from Bad Business Club. Go check out their brand new single, Flip Me Over, available now wherever it is you stream and download your jams. Go to badbusinessclubmusic.com for all of your Bad Business Club needs. And also, gang, when you're out there checking out badbusinessclubmusic.com, don't forget you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher, anywhere you find podcasts. We're dropping 3 shows a week for the month of July. Lots of shows, lots of conversations, lots of cool people. If you enjoyed listening to the Bad Business Club episode, you might enjoy Friday's show, Yate. My friend Alex Chod from the band Yate. They have similar music. They could tour together. Maybe they should be friends. I want to thank Alex, Jackson, and Sam for doing the show. Check out their podcast, Imbibe the Vibe. Go get involved with their Patreon and enjoy the rest of this song, Flip Me Over, from Bad Business Club. All right? Hey, don't forget to get tickets to my show this Friday, June 25th at 310austin.com. Go get your tickets there this Friday, June 25th with the Belle Sounds bringing the new jams. Have a great week. Talk to you on Wednesday. Let's get down.